speed. Hey, and we're live. Look at that. We're a little bit late. Had a little technical issue for a minor second, but it is Wednesday. It is Xbox Nation. As you guys all filter in, please hit the like button, share it out, tell your friends, do the social media thing because it's going to be a really good show. There is lots to talk about. I had a really, really good time with, coming up with these topics just because it's been a busy week. So I'm sure you guys are all going to enjoy.
We're talking Destiny 2, right? We're talking
Destiny 2. Well, you know what? Hey, Destiny 2 is a topic, actually. So
it certainly should be.
It is. I mean, hey, we got to talk about that. That is just a thing that would not die. Am I right? Like Destiny 2 just won't go away. I don't know what the deal is with that game. It's not my bag, but
the gift that keeps on giving all year long. Crap.
Yeah, it sure is, man. Pool. Yeah. So anyway, for some reason I have and I didn't even know I was going to have a panel that was going to be kind of shorthanded. I figured that, I'm not. People show up sometimes they don't. I don't know. But hey, we got Mooch here. That's plenty. What's going on,
buddy?
Mooch?
Great. And you do have a plethora of topics. I'm wondering where you're going to go first because I think it's like one is hotter than the other. So I mean, wherever you start, I'm ready to go. But it's gonna be a great night.
Oh heck yeah, it is. And we also got XBot 4448. What's going on, man? How you feeling?
I got an extra 4, so that's like an upgrade by like 4,000.
Hell yeah, it is, man.
I'm still sick, but I'm here. I got to talk about this stuff. Welcome to Geriatric Nation, people.
Oh yeah,
wow. Forever young.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Hey, look who just scooted his butt in here. We got Predator. What's going on, Pred? How you doing, man?
Good, man. What's going on? I actually have been here, but for some reason, Twitter didn't send me the update. There was a message there, so I was waiting on the link.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, you're here. I saw you in the chat. I was bitching. I was like, hey, I saw him in the chat. He's still isn't here. What's going on with that? But hey, glad you're here. We also got Dirt. He's back and he has some ammo today. This should be fun. What's going on, Dirt? How you doing, man?
What's up, Crap? Thanks for having me again, man. How everybody doing tonight? I'm doing great.
He just answered it for. I'm doing great. Great.
Pretty good. Pretty neat.
That is pretty good, pretty neat, man. We're glad to have you here. We also got J-Dubs Kratos. You're back. How's it going, man?
Yeah, there he goes.
Hey, and there he goes. I think his icon wasn't showing up or something.
He finally realized the name of the show is Xbox Nation. He's like, yo, what the hell am I doing here?
Yeah, you know what? A lot of people are like, hey, you should really change it to PlayStation Nation. I'm like, maybe Game Nation or something. I don't know. I have to think of something to kind of change it to. But as you guys are joining in here, please like the video, share it out, get everybody involved in here. What's up? I see a lot of cool people in the chat. I see Crispy Bomb. I actually podcasted with that dude for the first time last week on Crossfire.
Hey,
good stuff. Me? Yeah, we hear you. Oh, I see your icon too. It doesn't show up on the little panel, but it shows up. Hey, can you hear us, Jay? Jay?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Hear me? Okay.
Yeah. What's going on?
My thing decided to crap out at the wrong time.
Jay's used to that PlayStation online chat, so you gotta ask him a couple times if he can hear you.
Yeah, we hear you, Jay, man. How's it going? Hey, Buck Nasty, thanks, man. He says thanks for stopping by. AEW is live. Hey, man, don't be leaving us. Don't be leaving us, man.
I'm here.
Yeah, are you doing okay, Jay?
Doing good, man. Can't complain at all.
All right, heck yeah, man. I hear you. So I kind of want to get started while we're still early on. Obviously, there's a ton of big news. One of the biggest, obviously, we're going to start off on a Sony subject, is Shawn Layden leaves Sony. There's kind of rumors of a bit of a power struggle going on there. And I mentioned this to Mooch in DM because we were talking. He's like, oh, I bet he goes to Stadia. And I'm like, man, that's like going to, you're running Disney to go on to run Wally World. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mooch, if I ever have a product, I hope to God you like it because you will go to the ends of the earth defending it, brother.
That's what Mooch goes. He goes, he's probably heading to Stadia. And I was like,
now, I mean, there's rumors coming out that he's, probably was let go and there was a power struggle. But I mean, I think at the same time, I think that, you look at what Stadia is doing and they're grabbing some of the elites from Nintendo and from Sony. Yep. It wasn't outrageous when the rumor first broke. But yeah, I mean, obviously that's not the case.
Yeah, you know what I mean? The interesting part about this was the fact that there was no he didn't say anything about it. It didn't sound like, like it was something that was really like a good thing. It sounded like there was some kind of issue or whatever. And the funny thing was him, and I remember Jim Ryan got promoted earlier this year, right? Jim Ryan is the guy who does kind of put his foot in his mouth a little bit. It seems a little bit odd to me that he was the one that was promoted originally over Layden, since Jim Ryan isn't really in the spotlight as much, and Layden is. And then Jim Ryan is the one that also is like, who wants to play old games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, nobody, people request it, but they don't want it. I don't know. So he's starting to come out with a lot more stuff to say lately. And then you've got Layden, he's quiet. He was more the one that was kind of pushing for crossplay and this other stuff. And then you got Jim Ryan. He's like, hey, man, we like streaming. And, that's a little bit of a negative in my opinion. Whereas you had Layden go, hey, exclusives are, non-negotiable for our platform. So you have to wonder if that's like old guard versus sort of new guard. And then Layden was very outspoken with, hey, we might put our stuff on PC, the multiplayer stuff, or we might do this or we might do that. So, it seems like maybe he was kind of forced out. Also, you have to kind of keep in mind that I guess in Japan, yesterday or whatever started their like fiscal second quarter or something like that. So a lot of people, they switch things up when that happens. So they probably picked that time or whatever, but it's very interesting to me. It just kind of comes as a shock, maybe even more so of a shock than Jack Tretton. Actually, if you look at it, Sony, for as much success as they've had this generation, have had a ton of turnover. You know what I mean? With the people that they've had, from Jack Tretton there. Who was the guy? House, Andrew House, Adam Boys.
Yeah, but there's a good explanation for that.
Of course there is. Jay.
What is it, Jay? I'm sure you're going to
tell us. Of course there is, Jay.
Wait, listen. Jack Trenton, Andrew House, what's his name? Kinshiro Yoshida.
Yeah, Yoshida.
And quite a few others, right? Even this last guy, Shawn Layden. They all were with the company for over 20 and 30 years.
Yeah.
Like at that age, right? It's time for those guys to that means they've seen 3 generations. They were in charge of 3 generations of PlayStation. At that time, these guys are ready to retire. They're winding down. They don't want to commit to another 10 years of a generation cycle for another generation for PlayStation.
Yeah. Well, see, I always felt when Jack Tretton left, he left right after he saw, because he rode the lows of the PS3, and then he saw how successful, basically he got handed on top. He got handed the victory with the PlayStation 4 right away and left on top. So I got that one. This one is a little bit weird. Okay, so I'll say this much, because this was another one that we were going to talk about, which was the head of Japan, PlayStation Japan, Mr. Morita, retires at the age of 60. But for those that don't know, in Japan, when you're 60, most of the time, a lot of times they do that. You know what I mean? Like that's perfectly natural for that to happen. Or sometimes you get like a window seat. It's very rare for that to not to happen. Now, Shawn Layden is 58. So, I mean, he's kind of pushing some of those numbers or whatever, but maybe just, like
31 years. He was with the company for 31 years.
Yeah. So, like I know a lot of people want to go, well, crap, what if this is what I got a lot on Twitter. Well, crap, if this was Microsoft that did this, you'd be raising a stink saying Xbox is going down, blah, blah, blah.
You would.
I would. Listen, and there's a very good reason. There's a very good reason why I would be doing that. Exactly, is because of what happened with Xbox and because they're constant failures this generation. So very different story there. Like for me, it's like Xbox, you almost kind of would like Phil's the last one there. Reggie's gone now. You have Sean is gone and Phil's the last man standing or whatever. And so it is a little bit of a influx type situation, especially with like what's going to happen with the PS5, because there's rumors that they're being very like cagey with information about the PS5, not letting developers know very much about it to avoid leaks. And this is stuff that maybe they weren't as stringent on before, because if you remember right, with like the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 4 Pro, like those specs and stuff and the secret documents, they all got out really fast. I had a copy of the Neo documents, so that they're not weren't being tight-lipped with them. Whereas with the PlayStation 5 stuff, I've heard very little, and people have heard like very little. It's just kind of a guessing game, and then like some developers would be like, "Well, I heard this about it" or whatever, you know what I mean? But it's not like a for sure thing. So it's a little bit different. Like Mooch, what do you think? Because I know Sean was a different guy than Jack Tretton. Jack Tretton was like a suit. He kind of commanded a room. Sean was more like, I don't know. He didn't really come across as a gamer to me, but he didn't come across as a bad guy or anything. You know what I mean?
I actually thought that Jack Tretton leaving was a bigger deal back in the day than this.
Yeah.
Number 2, I'll say this much. A lot of people were using this as a negative, but I actually thought it was a positive, and you guys got to hear me out.
Whoa.
Well, I didn't say it yet.
I know. Tell us, Mooch.
Thanks.
I'm
Thanks,
eager.
Well, I'm actually anticipating what I'm going to say.
I want to hear it.
You know, I got to tell you, I think that they were saying that Jim Ryan reminds people a lot of Don Matrick, and people were kind of using that as a negative.
Run,
that's a negative.
Now.
It's actually not, and I'll tell you why not. I mean, there's things that Don did that I thought was great. You know, we all
Don, we have advertisements on our dashboard. That's a Don Matrick.
Well, they're still there, so you know, apparently this management has no problem with that idea, and it makes money for them. But I mean, my point being is that, you know, we sit here, especially early in this generation, and said how great the 360 was, and I think everyone on the panel, including Jay, would agree at how great the 360 era was. Yeah. And Don went out and he cut deals and got exclusives done, right?
Mooch.
And yes,
now, I'm sorry to cut you off, but 360 was great,
right?
Until Don Matrick got there.
Oh,
Don Matrick got there.
What year did
Don got there in 2009.
Whoa. One at a time.
Listen, that's fine. If you feel that way, that's fine. I don't agree with you. I think he did some positive things for the platform, to be honest with you. And I think that using if Jim Ryan's not Don Matrick, okay? They're saying he's got Don Matrick tendencies. So if he's got a cup, right, he's probably better because he's a little bit more well-rounded than Don. Mm-hmm. But if he's got a couple of those, like, you know, that gusto, that fighting attitude where I want to win and this is our fight and I'm going to come out the victor. If he's got that in him, you got to watch out, because he's going to come out guns blazing.
He did do an interview and he was like, we're not going to rest on our laurels or anything like that.
Yeah. You know,
so
I mean, proof's in the pudding. He's got to show us something, but he was quite successful in Europe.
Yeah.
Guys, check this out. Like, this isn't about like PlayStation or Xbox. Like, when you see all the people who have left,
right,
PlayStation, Sony, you know, had like their hands in moving the PS3 like forward from, you know, everything that happened with that, getting into the PS4 and how smoothly that generation went. So many people have left that were a part of that whole thing. Now the future is wide open. Anybody who's guaranteeing anything for the PlayStation side, you really can't do that, because you don't know, you know, who is going to be put in place and what their idea of the future is going to be. I'm not saying to take it as a negative, but I'm also saying not to take it as a positive either.
Look,
we have no idea where they want to go now.
We do know.
Forward. No, you don't. They're all new people.
Jim Ryan said that Sony, like PlayStation, Sony, specifically the PlayStation division, they are still fearful and they're still reeling from last generation, from the fears and the stuff that they've learned from last generation of all the failures. And they say that that fear causes them to make sure that they never repeat that again. This is why they focus specifically on the gamers, for the gamers. They will always continue to invest in AAA exclusives and brand new acquisitions and stuff like that. These are his words, right? These are his words. And there is nothing that Sony has done within the 6 years that leaves me to believe that anything is going to change. They're number one in every single metric that you can bring up, right?
Brother, you don't need to spin this positively. I'm not saying it's negative or positive, but I'm saying that now
eventually, right?
It's wide open. It can go any direction, man.
Listen, eventually, all these guys are gonna die. They're gonna go off. Stuff. The company goes on.
Dude,
right?
Layden
there is no one guy. Listen, there is no one guy at the company.
Like his time to go.
There is no one guy at the company.
I think you guys. I think what
whole direction.
I think what people
all
don't.
of a sudden, Sony, PlayStation is going to become Xbox.
But what people don't. What you're saying is true.
I'm not even comparing the two.
Guys, take a step back and understand something here, okay? It's the one thing that I constantly say, and I've been saying it for a long time, Xbox, you know this, we've been podcasting for a very long time, is I'm always very, very, how do I put it? I'm not very clear and I'm not very sold on Xbox leadership, okay? And that's because I don't feel like they actually put their foot down on the developers on deadlines. I don't think that they're crucial on milestone points as far as deliveries. And the thing about it is this: whether you have Andrew House, whether you have Jack Trenton, whether you have Shawn Layden, or now Jim Ryan, one thing that they all have in common is all of them are kind of cutthroat. And
hold on, Mooch.
The one thing about it is I think that it doesn't matter because it's really in the hands of the development team.
But brother, you're talking about schedules and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We've been through this entire generation podcasting together. How many times did we have to say a PlayStation exclusive was delayed?
That was 2015 and before.
Really,
it was.
It was got delayed
because after 2015, multi-plats, Xbox, and PlayStation had semi pushes to the right in schedule. They all did. So we can't sit here and blame that. What I'm trying to say to you, though, as far as deliverables, I'm also talking about quality control.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's no quality control at Xbox as of today. I'm not seeing it.
Okay.
And you have, and I know Dirk can't wait. And my point is even a great game like Gears 5, which is a lot of,
so there can't be those cartoony games, those smaller games.
Listen,
stuff like
that's not quality control. That's not what I'm talking about. So you guys got to stop doing it. Yeah. You can't take what someone says and then run off and be like, so what he means is I'm right here, and that's not what I mean. What I'm trying to tell you, okay, is you have Gears 5, which is you want to say bring the same energy. If Last of Us 2, if I get to Chapter 2 and I can't progress, tune into Xbox Nation. I'm going off. Okay, I couldn't progress past Act 2, first chapter in Act 2 in Gears 5. That's a quality control issue.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's a flagship franchise. So that's not acceptable. Then you go back and you have numerous tweets from Phil saying that Crackdown 3 is on schedule. I've played it.
It's fun.
Great. It's fun. What is
Maybe
it he
was fun
seeing?
to him. Maybe it was fun to him.
Okay, Dirt. Sure. My point being is let's be realistic, okay? It's like if we all go to an amazing Six Flags, and I'm like, Dirt's like, I love roller coasters, and I'm like, Dirt, try the teacups. They're fun. Get the hell out of here, Mooch. My point being is the interpretation of fun is not what we got with freaking, Crackdown 3. I played and beat Crackdown 3. Okay, so I did have #fun. But when Phil was preaching it the way it was, it sounded like the revitalization of Crackdown. This is a quality control issue. The multiplayer didn't even work when it first came out. We had to have those two guys come out every day and make a video for 45 minutes telling us what they did wrong and how they're fixing it.
Do you guys see what's going on here?
You tell me,
the topic is Shawn Layden.
Yeah, I know, right?
All of a sudden, we're talking about Crackdown 3 and bashing Xbox.
Well, I'm just trying to tell what I'm trying to say. So let me tie it back in. Okay, then let me tie it back in for you.
I'll back Mooch up on this, right?
The tie-in right now is just that the fact is that I haven't had to see any two developers from Sony come on and do their own 2-part miniseries for 3 weeks on when they're gonna and how they're gonna fix the multiplayer like they did in Crackdown. That was almost like a miniseries on Netflix. Tune in tomorrow to Crackdown 3's multiplayer dev team.
What you do see is Sony throwing developers under the bus when they have, I don't know, maybe a timed exclusive like No Man's Sky, and they just throw the developer out there. No, you deal with this yourself. I know it's not first
party. But he did. You're right. He did. They did throw him under the bus. He came back in glorious fashion. So shout out to Sean Murray.
Yeah.
He did. He came back. Yeah, go ahead, Jay.
When you look at it like this, okay, Mooch, this roadmap that we have from Microsoft, right? We had Gears, great game, looks good, everybody's happy,
right?
Gets a good Metacritic score. And right after that, we take this deep breath and we put our heads down because we know for a fact the next 2 games are going to be.
Why y'all still talking about Xbox
games? We know we got
Tell them, Dirt.
We got Bleeding Edge and we know we got
no.
We know those going to be extremely. So it's like Microsoft. They need to get in a rhythm, right? They need 3 good rated. They need 2 or 3 good rated games in a row. That's what they need. But we know we're not getting that. We got Gears, Array, and then it's back to the Xbox template. Like they need to break that cycle.
Yo,
Dirt, y'all to do what Donald Trump do.
You're wide open, man.
Dirt, bring it back. Dirt, bring it back to Sony. Then I want to hear what your concerns are now that the guy who was running Europe Studios fine is now running all of it. What's your concern?
I don't have anything negative to say. Shit happens, right?
Right.
Fortune 500 companies, right?
Absolutely.
I know how the console world works. I know some of my Xbox brothers. Oh, what is going on? What's going on? Something's wrong. We don't know what's wrong. Things happen. Heads, like sometimes heads, but and guys disagree, and damn, Jim Ryan won. But all I'm saying, all I can say is this. You guys somehow always bring some negative Xbox talk into something that we're not talking about Xbox at the moment. We're talking about what? Well, go ahead. What? Right now, what? Zoo Tycoon? What?
Hey, Zoo Tycoon. Hey, remember that game? That game sucked. No, look.
Hey, that was a Phil Spencer game.
I hear you, Dirt. I hear you.
Yo, at the end of the day, man, Sony's gonna end up doing the same thing Microsoft is doing.
Prayer. Like before you say that, you're right, but
it's too late.
I see a lot of people saying, no, they're never going to do this, never going to do that. All I know is this. It's 2019. I don't know why people are surprised. They're moving forward with technology. Sony's a very smart company. You think they want to be left behind? Nintendo is the only company that don't give a shit about being left behind because they have such a cult following. Sony is not about to be left behind with technology. Man, they see all these other companies doing it. You don't think they're going to try to do this stuff?
Well, listen, here's the thing, but there is a little bit of difference, and we'll get into that. But real quick, Rock Dog says, someone tell me why Phil is still in charge of Xbox when by your word he's doing everything wrong. The simple answer to that is easy. I mean, he did land them Minecraft, and he did get them different things that are going to use. But if you look at what he's actually done for like console gamers in the console space, he's delivered absolutely nothing. He's delivered 0 games that the fans have asked for. And
delivered Game Pass. I think
Game Pass is a fucking service.
Listen,
you know what I mean?
There are games in the service.
But fans are asking for what? Big AAA exclusives.
Bangers.
That's what they're asking for. I mean, they are.
You guys got to do all of it.
You guys are confused. The entire Xbox community is just so upset with their Xbox, and they're like, man,
what little community there is, to be honest with you. Look how far it's
you're all signing up to PS
There's
now
over
right now.
40 million consoles out there.
Maybe. I mean, maybe. There's not, and down from 90 million last gen, dude, and you don't think that's a problem? What Xbox, and I asked this and I'll ask Dirt this too. Why is Xbox last place? And please don't refer me to 2013, because ever since 2014, Microsoft has been adding everything in the kitchen sink to be better than Sony. So please tell me why Xbox continues to not sell and why nobody's buying one.
Crap, you know the answer to this. Their games haven't been good. I'm not about to sit here and lie to you about it.
They want those AAA bangers.
No. See, I'm not one of those Xbox guys, those blind Xbox guys that's going to say, oh, Crackdown 3 was great. No, their games haven't been good. But at the end of the day, they're trying to fix their issue. We just have to wait. That's the only thing I can say, bro. The games haven't been good. I
mean, I think Dirt's right. Dirt, I got to defend Dirt.
Listen, I will too, but hold on. I want to respond to 9 Lives, because this is the problem with Xbox in a nutshell. He says Minecraft Dungeons, Halo Infinite is next gen. He says Minecraft Dungeons multiplat, Wasteland 3 multiplat, Psychonauts 2 multiplat, Bleeding Edge little PC game that free to play game nobody gives a shit about. Flight Sim, are you kidding me?
Dude, you're just throwing in your opinions on
but
that
listen,
way,
these aren't I'm telling you, none of these games are big sellers or big read like this. These aren't going to push anything. These aren't even going to push Game Pass numbers.
They can't wait to get to next generation crap. You know that.
Oh,
they
can't wait to get to next generation.
I said that.
They lost the generation. They know that.
Even if they start over tomorrow, right? 90%, 99% of those games that they just started working on are not going to be ready anyway.
Who said they just started working on it?
We know that for a fact. They just bought these studios last year.
No, it was actually over 2 years.
It
was actually over 2 years of acquisitions, and they had projects that they were working on before they became
Bleeding Edge. Party. Is that gonna change the benchmark?
No,
Is going to change the benchmark?
No,
is Outer Wilds going to change the benchmark? No,
it's not.
These multiplats, right? They're all multiplats, and none of them are going to change.
Yo, Dirt, they don't want to talk about Halo Infinite.
Hold on.
That doesn't ever move anything.
Hold on, calm down. Here's something nobody else ever talks about. Like, we know they picked up these new studios, and we're expecting games from them in the future. But what was their plan from Gears 5 till then?
Yeah.
Ride it out, brother.
Multiplex.
That's what it was.
No,
Ride it
yeah,
out.
The
like,
thing is, like you have to, like, I would wonder, like, in a meeting, and this isn't really bashing, but how do you really go, like, this is what plays into a role of why they changed their metrics for success yet again, because obviously Gears is a big game and a well-known game and probably did push their player numbers, but then you have a 14-month drop, and you have nothing that's going to move that needle the way that Gears does. There's not a Forza, there's not a Halo, so you have a long wait until that next big game. So they have to expect people to kind of drop out or whatever. And so I think they should have been a little bit better prepared. Like, I'm not sure exactly what the deal is, but it's like, you need to be a little bit better prepared. You have people that are going to get, they're going to see Sony still coming out with bangers, and they're going to.
You were there at the end of the 360 era. They did the same thing.
Hold on, Omega Blash / Buster says Xbox Game Pass is a hard pass. Appreciate the input.
Well,
Thank you
good
very
for
much.
you.
But listen,
Thank you, sir.
let me say this, but okay, like
They did the same thing at the 360 era.
situation though. They
Yeah,
were
but they're
they were
doing the
focused.
same thing.
They were focused on Connect at the end of the 360 era, right?
Yes,
As
yes.
opposed to now, it's just like you can't even just say that they're doing the same thing as last gen because it's obviously different. Okay, and I bring this up
At the end of last generation, people, the 360, the biggest complaint about that is like, what happened to the first party? First party, they just fell off the map.
And I mentioned that 2010 was their last big first party year because they had Alan Wake, they had Fable 3, Mass Effect 2.
A couple years before they moved to new hardware.
They did,
It's the
but
same
check this.
thing.
But check this. It's not the same thing because they didn't just Xbox. You and I both know they didn't just stop a few years ago and go, let's focus on the new hardware. They stopped in 2014 and we're like, hey, we're not going to do anything because look at this. Sea of Thieves was started in 2014 and announced in 2015.
You're answering your own question.
I know this is what I'm saying, but I'm leading him on down the path so he understands what I'm saying. So basically, Sea of Thieves is the last AAA new IP in 2015 was announced, and it started in 2014, meaning that we've had this last 5 years almost and nothing new announced. I understand that there probably will be stuff. I'm not stupid. I get
was announced within all
but
that.
that's not a new AAA IP.
Count,
I'm not saying
listen.
I'm not saying it doesn't count, but again,
it's
just Gears of War.
Oh, says
just
the man
Halo.
with the tattoo on his
arm. I like it, but guess what, man? They ruined my
goodness, man.
listen, I could get into this all day. They ruined my favorite franchise, but I'm not gonna complain. You know what I mean? I'm just because I'm over it.
If
You know what I'm saying?
prior to Gears of War, everyone was screaming and yelling, Phil, we want more than just Halo, Gears, and Forza. Give us new IP. We want new IP.
You were yelling.
Okay. Crap just explained.
Not everybody was yelling.
Everybody was yelling. Everybody.
Gamer just explained it perfectly to me.
Small community.
Hold on, let me say this.
You know what? Having Gears, Halo, and Forza, all that did was get them last place.
Yeah, that's why I say, Pred, that's a good point. That's why I say when people are like, but they're gonna launch with the new Halo, I'm like, bro, Halo didn't do much this generation. I mean,
it was
one
underwhelming.
25 years of Halo.
It was like, listen, and I like those franchises, but you know how much better they'd be propped up if they had their own. And I'm not saying copy Last of Us, but their own Last of Us or their own God of War. It doesn't have to be. I'm just saying their own big new AAA title or big AAA titles. They can kind of buffer those.
There's a reason. There's a reason Bomber threw that chair and almost threw it out of like a 100-story building is because they never should have let Bungie go.
Yeah, you know what? Like, I have to admit this, and I said this for the first time. I liked different aspects of Halo 4 and Halo 5. By the way. Yeah, like listen, I like
Bomber that threw the chair.
I like Bomber did throw a chair apparently.
I thought he was,
but it was under Donnie Magic. It was under Donnie Magic when Bungie left.
Yeah, I mean, look, Donnie had his own. He had his own. Donnie had his own problem.
I'm talking about the chair throwing.
We could have, if you think about it, man. Microsoft could have the most played game of the generation in Destiny. All as an exclusive if they would have just let them do their thing, and they could have even still had input on Halo.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
They made a lot of mistakes, but I'm just gonna say, like, for me personally, I liked this. Like, if you play Halo Reach, it probably has the best story, and then the best Master Chief focused one I do think is Halo 4, and then Halo 5 has really good multiplayer, but they have yet to really pull it together. They have to pull it together and put out a really great Halo, but I feel like people are just gonna be like, yeah, it's another Halo. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like that's a little bit of a problem. Also, I wanted to point this out because it was a topic and I wanted to talk about it. So I remember about a month before the launch of Gears 5, Rod Ferguson from the Coalition did an interview, and he mentioned how when they were talking about how to do Gears 5, how Matt Booty and them told him, oh, you don't have to worry about Game Pass, don't fit anything, just do a great game and we'll market it and blah, blah, blah. We'll worry about the other things later. So he said that about a month before the release of Gears. And now, just the other day, he did this other interview where he states that he specifically built Gears 5 around Game Pass, right? So that was something that I was always very, very skeptical and afraid of, because if you look at it, the microtransactions in Gears 5 are absolutely ridiculous, right? He really noobed it down. He dumbed it down to the point so that he could bring new players in. But hold on, they dumbed it down. Like this game, and Rob is smart, because he says in this interview, he's like, before, if you're a new player, you hop in the multiplayers, get shot in the face with a shotgun 3 times, and then you leave and you never come back. And that's what Gears of War is. Trying to make it more noob friendly doesn't make people stick around, because, you know, let's face it, noobs don't really stick around for those type of games anyway. So like, I always felt like they just kind of really pandered to that or whatever. So I was, you know what I mean? I was that guy.
You stuck around though.
Well, you know what, I stuck around because, you know, I had a really good team and, you know, really good communication. And it was fun. You know, we used to do like game battles and stuff. So like that,
why can't people going into Gears 5 have that same experience?
Because they changed it around now. You know what I mean? Like they've changed it around to where
it's not how they changed it.
It's not really. It's not as fun anymore. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like people.
That's because you're bitter, crap. That's all it is.
Yeah, like I get it. I'm bitter. I'm just saying, for me personally, like how they back out of one thing, like they say one thing and then do another. Yeah. That's a bit you know, unsettling, especially with Halo looming. Like how many microtransactions do you guys think Halo's good? That game might be laden with microtransactions, even more so than Gears of War.
You know what microtransactions are to me?
Hold on, my bad there. But their rec pack was a total success, where you can earn everything, or if you want.
Did you see how in Gears they raised the prices?
Yeah,
they raised the prices like overnight.
Here's the thing. You cannot couple Halo in with that. When Halo 5 came out, everybody thought that Gears 4 was going to have something absolutely identical in terms of what you can spend real money on and stuff like that. And Gears 4 didn't do that. So since that happened and there was no connection there, why would you bring Halo into this conversation?
Because it worries me when people go, how does Game Pass, or
they went separate paths before. What makes you think they won't do that
because
again?
There's a difference between rec packs, which by the way I always thought was asinine the way that they did it, because it was like funding tournaments. Like Microsoft needs microtransactions to fund Halo tournaments. Are you kidding me? $1 trillion company? Like, it's ridiculous. But listen, it's the same thing with Killer Instinct, right? Oh, you got to buy a character for $5 to help fund Killer Instinct, right? Like, it's Microsoft. Why are we
How
paying?
many multiplayer games doesn't have microtransactions right now?
World's richest company.
How many multiplayer games does not have microtransactions right now?
I don't know. But listen, Microsoft is $1 trillion company, and a lot of these other companies aren't. But I will say, when you look at but listen, I'm not even just talking about multiplayer, but look at the companies with the first party overall. And you see Sony and Nintendo don't really have any microtransactions.
They make single player games, crap.
Exactly. And that takes me into my next point, which is PlayStation Now, right? And when everybody's like, hold on, they're all gonna have this in there, day and date. PlayStation Now, lock it in, crap. I told you so. I told you so.
Exactly what I said, crap. From day one, remember I said they should be doubled. Like Xbox, I'm telling you right now, they're probably like kicking themselves in the ass. There's no reason to do day and date. I've been saying it for ages. We've been talking about MSP for ages.
Are you guys sure they're not doing day and date?
I'm telling you 100% they're not going to. And I'll explain to you why. No time soon. No time in the next generation. And I'll explain it to you perfectly clear. Microsoft does this because they have mostly games as a service, multiplayer type games where people pay to keep coming back to play, right?
Well, no, they're supposed to have a complete package, single player.
But they don't. They're never going to come out with anything truly single player. Everything's going to have some kind of co-op or multiplayer.
Single player campaign, multiplayer.
But they're never going to just come out with something.
It has to make sense to make money.
Exactly. They're never going to come out with something that's only single player. That's a 15-hour campaign, because you know why?
Dude, that's one of the things I like about Xbox.
Because people, I understand that
you. Has it been working, brother? Has it been working?
It hasn't.
Let me
finish my point. So Microsoft does games as a service, online oriented. They want you to keep paying to come back to play your Sea of Thieves, your Forzas, your Halo, your Gears, right? Because they're constantly games as a service and updating. Okay, they want you to keep doing that, and people will do that. On Sony's side, theirs are largely quote unquote one and dones. There's no, also Microsoft's games are laden with microtransactions. So that makes sense because they can make up the difference with microtransactions and doing those kind of things. People paying for gold to play online, whatever. That's how they make it up. On Sony's side, apples to oranges, my friends. They do largely one and dones, quote unquote, with no microtransactions, single player games. They don't want to give these huge.
But they also said they're about to do multiplayer games too.
I understand that they're going to do. They're going to do some. They're going to create some.
Yeah. That's how you ended up with the deal for Predator.
But they
right?
totally have.
They're
they
trying.
totally. They
but
totally have.
Hold on. I like how y'all just overlook the rest of the industry and just focus on Microsoft and their multi.
No. Listen, I'm going to cover that. If you look at what the industry's doing, Ubisoft, they're not doing small games. They're doing all big games as a service type games, right? Like that's a EA. They like to do those type of things. Sony has the market cornered on that, like that single player market. Like people go to Sony for those great single player games. It doesn't make sense for them to do day and date. Why? Because this is what they're doing. They just broke all records with The Last of Us 2 in pre-order sales. Okay, they're selling 15 million copies. Now think about this. Let's say they're selling 15 million copies of Spider-Man, 15 million copies of God of War. Why would they shovel those two huge hits out to a service day and date?
That's where they can double dip. They can make that 30 million off those two titles, and then a year later, in this case, a year later, I even said 3 months, 6 months, 30 days. Microsoft should have waited.
Yep.
You can double dip, and you might go, well, no, it's consumer friendly. Listen, don't play Monday morning quarterback. Now we know it's day and date, but I'm talking about if everybody in the chat right now, everybody on the panel, everybody listening later. If you were all in the Microsoft conference room when they were coming up with the idea, somebody was probably like, why don't we wait 30? Remember, nobody was getting these games on PC at all. Nobody was playing Gears and nobody was playing Halo on PC. So the fact that they went from never to 2 months or 1 month or 3 months or 6 months was better than nothing. So why they decided to do day and date, pardon me, is an absolute, I think it's a catastrophe for them. Because
me as a gamer,
it's not gonna be
but me as a gamer, that's great. Like, are we gamers or are we investors, man?
I think when you come to the show and you speak only for your wallet, I mean like literally your wallet,
for a gaming community, not the businesses.
But if you want to love these games and love this platform, you do have to want them to excel as well, or they're not around.
Yeah,
with that attitude,
numbers, man.
Listen, with that attitude, this is why Xbox is in the position.
Microsoft has gotten rid of Groove. They've gotten rid of Windows Phone. You don't think Windows Phone had a big budget? That's gone too. So my point being is, if they don't make money, the investors go, "This ain't working," and it's gone. So what I'm trying to say,
and what did they do with Windows Phone? You saw the Duo that they just showed that's coming out next year.
Yeah, that's gonna do really well. Anyway, so like, it's like
you know what's funny? I'm gonna say this right quick, Moose, before you go. I'm sorry.
It's running on Android.
You know what's funny? Crap asked another
question. It's running on Android.
Another topic about PlayStation Now and it's back on Xbox bashing. But go ahead.
Well, no. Listen. What I'm trying to say is about this whole PlayStation Now thing is because I see like the Sony, the Xbox dudes are trying to get everything to fit what Microsoft is doing. But listen, Sony's been doing this streaming stuff to PC for a while. They weren't the newer games, right? But they've been doing some of their exclusives, their PS4 exclusives, for a while, for years now. So why is it just an issue now that almost a year and a half, almost 2-year-old God of War? That's what Sony's doing. They're brilliant because they could potentially entice people on a PC, which, by the way, PlayStation Now tops out at 720p, 30 frames per second. And you get this, you know what I'm saying? They can entice people to play their games and go, holy crap, that's quality. Let me go buy me a PlayStation, right? Like, they're doing things the right way. They're enticing people to buy PlayStation, believe it or not, by doing this, because they're not going to do it day and date. But maybe somebody plays, somebody plays this God of War and they go, this really is the greatest game I've ever played. Well, You know what? I'm going to play the next one on the PlayStation 5 and I got to get me a PlayStation 5.
Or they'll say this, man, that God of War game was absolutely great. I also see what else they have on PS Now. Now, let me ask you guys this. 15 million, let's say, example, 15 million, The Last of Us 2 sold 20 million Last of Us 2s or so, right? Make buku money, right?
Yeah.
Naughty Dog, it takes them a few more years to get another game out, right? So do you guys really think that them getting, say, for example, 15 million PS Now subscribers that's subscribe every month, you guys don't see the benefit in that? Instead of, hold on, like before you go, like one big game selling great, making millions of dollars this one game, right? And in like 3 months' time, make millions of dollars. But 15 million PS Now users subscribe to their service, pay consistently every month. You don't think that will make more money?
Well, listen, their goal is not. Their goal was 5 million by the end of next generation.
Microsoft gave
it's a long term. You guys know why these companies give out free trials. Why all these companies give out free trials, right? Because they want you to be in the system.
But
right? Am I right?
The problem is
they want to be in the system.
Microsoft does not care about selling hardware.
I'm not talking about Microsoft. I'm talking about PlayStation.
But I'm trying to tell you, right? So
Sony does.
Microsoft doesn't care about selling hardware. They only care about selling you subscriptions. They're okay with that. That fits their model. But Sony still wants to sell you a $400-$500 box.
They will eventually make more money, Jay. They will make more money eventually. It's about money. It's about money, bro.
They're making money. Dirt. You don't think
will make more money eventually?
PS4 sold is money?
Dude.
Dirt. There's money on top of
money
1 billion games. Dirt. They sold over 1 billion games. They don't have to.
There's some people
have to sell their stuff for $1.
There's some restaurants in your neighborhood. Listen, there's some restaurants in your neighborhood that rely on delivery, and there's some that don't offer it, but they still thrive.
Yeah, let me just
go ahead. Their model. It doesn't mean it's Sony's model.
Yeah. Can I just answer Dirt real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Real quick, Dirt, on what you said. Guess what, brother? It doesn't matter what the panel says here. The rest of the industry sees
everybody's doing it, but okay.
And this is why Microsoft don't release any kind of justification or verification that any of the stuff.
Everybody
got
their calculator.
Hey, listen though, listen. Like I'm saying, listen. Okay, look, Microsoft has the Windows, their own Windows store. They have a horse in that race. Sony has no horse in that race. You're talking about streaming games, and the funniest, most hypocritical thing I saw today was people going, "No need to get a PlayStation." It's like, are you serious? I know that these people are trolling because I know a good troll when I see one.
Y'all trolled us,
but it's like, but listen, it's like,
no, you the Xbox guy.
They're enticing
for years about that.
I understand that, but look, Sony at the end of the day is what? A hardware company. They want to push their hardware. They've even said in the past, the Pro was a way to entice PC players to the PlayStation, right? To keep people from leaving PlayStation and going to PC because people were doing that. I see Xbox fans. Well, listen, I'm seeing Xbox fans go from Xbox to PC because they're tired of paying for these upgrades every 3 years and no games. They're like, I'll just play the games when they come out on PC. And I understand that completely because you're not paying for gold. Everything's crossplay anyway. Like, it makes no sense realistically to own an Xbox, but Xbox fans want people to feel that way about PlayStation, and it's just not the same. It's apples to oranges.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
One of the things Dirt said, though, you got to understand. And Dirt, I get, everybody always says, let's follow the crowd. Let's follow the crowd. That's why that game Lemmings meant so much to me as a kid, because you don't want to walk into a pit of fire. Okay. Right now, everything's going into a subscription base. Okay. The same thing happened
everybody's following Xbox.
Okay.
Right
so
into
anyway,
the crash.
Like my point being is like, exactly. So same thing happened in 2006, 2007, 2008 with the real estate crash. Okay. What happens is everybody was doing the same thing. The banks were all allowing these loans to go on and things to happen and absolutely crashed. There's a lot of warnings out there right now that because everything is going to a subscription, that there's going to be a crash. Now, is it going to happen tomorrow? No, but it's going to happen eventually. Everything's going to this system, but people are eventually going to get fed up. Myself personally, I've cut 2 or 3 things out of my monthly budget that I don't use anymore. And eventually people are going to be, you know what? F this. I don't do this anymore. And you guys, the one thing I keep asking the audience to please remember, you paid $1 now. Eventually, you'll be paying $15 a month for this.
Well,
okay?
Telling them it's $1, everybody's going to think it's a freaking $1.
Well, they did. They paid $1. I'm telling them they're going to be going up to $14.99.
People didn't invest in like Xbox Live for 2 years, like you and Crafted, and then got it all upgraded.
That means their dollar's already up. So my point being is, right, so now they're at $14 or $99 or $9.99.
And it's still a great deal.
Made that for you.
Hey, let me pay a couple bills real quick.
We don't know. They changed the metrics again. We don't know.
I gotta pay 2 bills real quick. JD Gamer says, Moose, that was the best, most honest answer ever. Keep it up. And then we have Beyond Wisdom says, here's some money for the tip jar. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Everybody hit the like button. Let's get over 100 likes. We got almost 500 people watching. I would appreciate it. So listen, I agree. Subscriptions are a thing. It's happening. But eventually some of these subscriptions are going to fade out and fail. It is like, and guess what? Sony's going to be in a really good spot when that happens because they're not offering things day and date. They're more or less taking a step back and going, let's see how things work out. Now, listen, like I said,
a couple years ago, you said that they weren't even going to put their exclusives on.
No, they when they launched it with.
What is it going to be a couple years from now when they announce that they're putting it in day and date?
Listen,
now it's all exclusives.
Yeah.
Listen, by then Xbox will be an app on everybody's phone.
It's true. It's true. So all those people that are like streaming in 720p on their Windows stuff right now, like laughing it up. Just imagine when that Xbox app is on the PlayStation 5 and you can play, all those games on there as well. Like
that, brother.
Well, I mean, like, listen, it's going to happen. It is. That's going to happen. But listen, like I said, Sony
would have to say, yeah.
So, well, listen, kill the competition. That would absolutely kill the rest of Xbox off.
Yeah, they wouldn't make any money off of that to keep on.
Hey, I'm not saying. Listen, I don't care about their money. I'm talking about their consoles.
I said to keep coming out with their games and hardware.
Who would buy their hardware? Listen, if I had the option right now, if Sony goes, we're gonna allow Microsoft to publish their games on PlayStation 5.
No, stream it.
Either way, right? Like, why would them to publish the games? There's only a handful of games that Microsoft has that's worth a damn anyway. So why not just go?
Yeah, they didn't acquire new studios. They don't.
Hey, they did, but hey, man, what can I say?
What
What can I say, man? I'm not a big State of Decay fan. Hey, Tim, we pissed on our Cheerios minus 15 food. Like, Jesus.
Hey, Sully, mute his mic.
Sully.
Say Decay 2 is great.
Listen, man. So, like, in Exile, Wasteland 3. Are you dying to play that bot? Did you play Bard's Tale 4? Are those your bag? You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, they picked up the worst of the worst. They got the bad news bears of developers. You know what I'm saying? They got some of the worst developers.
How many times? Remember when they were doing this whole like AA?
Hey, Ninja Theory's making a free-to-play game.
What'd Pred say?
Fred, what did you say?
Remember when they were doing this whole AA? They stopped doing marketing for these AAA games. They started doing these AA games. I said to you guys, they're trying to save money by getting these games cheaper because I thought it made sense at the time for them to do that because it didn't make sense to spend all this money on Call of Duty exclusivity if they're still selling the same amount on the Xbox anyway. Why get the exclusivity? And they weren't selling consoles at the time. It didn't make any sense to me. So they did that, and now they're doing the same thing, buying these little cheap ass studios up. And the thing is, like you guys mentioned this before, like we get tired of Halo, Gears, Forza, but we need, at least the generation of children growing up underneath us don't have those games on Xbox that they grew up with. We grew up with Halo, Gears, and Forza. Now this next generation of kids growing up is going to probably grow up with Sea of Thieves, and that's about it, and Minecraft. But like they haven't
I'm sorry for them, man. Good Lord. Thieves and Minecraft. Holy crap.
That's what Microsoft has produced for them. Like, they have to, and maybe Ori or Cuphead or something like that. But like,
they let Ori go to the Switch and it runs better.
Yeah, right. But they have to find that, and they haven't really been able to produce that because they don't make games like that anymore. They don't make they don't make sequels like that anymore, man. So like the kids' this generation aren't getting that anymore. They're just getting the same shit from before that we're getting. And when we talk about it, we loved it when we first got those games, but they're like, that's normal.
Real quick, and I'm a big fan of him, Brad. But Johan Velaj, your math in the chat is super wrong. You gotta check your numbers again.
Oh, he said the one that said 70 million.
No, the one where he's saying $60 times 20 million is 120 million. He's got to check his math.
Yeah, your math is wrong.
Your math's way off.
Listen,
dude.
but what my original point was this as well. Like, let's say they only have 700,000 PlayStation Now subscribers. Let's say they jump that up to 5 million. Yeah. Okay, 5 million paying $60 a year. Do the math on that. Does that make them more money, or does them selling the next God of War and The Last of Us? Selling 15 million copies a piece of those make them more money, and then a year and a half after they're released, you add them to your service to pick up the budget gamer. Yeah. Like, why? Or make people double
dip. Those games were never on PC before, so the PC gamers are going to flock to that. Whereas Microsoft's games were on PC before, so like buying that on Game Pass now, like there's a big difference there. Like all that day and date PC market that Microsoft got, they don't get to recoup that money that Sony's gonna do, because those games they're putting out there were never out there in the first place.
This stuff is supplemental to what Sony is already selling, right? They're already breaking records, selling, almost every game they launch sells 10 million copies for the most part. They're not going to stop that 10 million copies selling. They want to continue selling 10 million copies of each of these games. And then on top of that, they'll wait. I'll be okay with 3 months, 4 months, maybe 5 months later. I'll believe, I'll be okay with those games.
They're not talking about the
Jay, what about in between games? Because Naughty Dog games take about 3 to 4 years. Sony Santa Monica games take about 3. What about in between games? Are they going to have like 3 to 4 AAA bangers every year?
Listen, let me tell you, right? And this is how PlayStation has been able to dominate this year. Not only do they have VR offerings, right, but they also have marketing. Listen,
so VR games are selling 20 million. Okay.
You asked the question. Let me finish. They also have third-party marketing deals. Think about it. We're playing Call of Duty in a couple of weeks, and we get a mode that nobody else gets. And then on top,
so Sony gets $60 per Call of Duty sold. I didn't know.
Let me finish. You asked the question. On top of that, we get the Yakuzas, we get the Final Fantasy 7.
Okay, those sell millions.
Other games that
Days Gone, all of those games sell.
Right. Come from
it's a better option because everybody that's going to buy these games has pretty much already bought these games. Okay, so that's why it's very smart. People are going to double dip. You know what I mean? People that maybe played it or bought a PlayStation and then want to play it also on PC or whatever. So it's very smart. And they have multiple generations of games, PS2, PS3, PS4. So this is a very smart move by Sony, just to see them kind of do that. Sorry that the stream kind of broke up and I guess we lost a bunch of people. Holy crap. What's up with that, Sully? I guess the stream lagged up or whatever. But anyway,
maybe somebody said use the PS Now for the stream.
Yeah. Okay, hey, no worries. Are we going now, Sully? Oh, okay. All right. Well, we're live back here. Who knows what the hell people heard, but that's great anyway. So, you know what I mean? So anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about, what can we talk about? Let's talk a little bit about the PlayStation 5 dev kit, supposedly called Prospero. Kits went out. The newer ones went out this past summer. And supposedly these things are quite powerful, saying that it's the greatest compute jump of any console in the history of gaming. Like, this is pretty huge when you hear this kind of stuff. Let me see what I can find here. I'm bringing it up right now. Sorry, guys. So supposedly this thing's got some kind of built-in camera too. It's called Prospero. Features a built-in camera, but
I don't think it's a built-in. It's the one.
I don't think it'd be built-in.
Yeah, for VR too.
Yeah. Well, according to the leak, include a camera. The Xbox camera is supposed to be up to 4K resolution. These are supposed to be for streaming. The funny thing is,
this
the
is supposed
Xbox
to be a Polaroid
Connect 3.0.
So it's one of those things that they really listen. If you look at the beginning of this generation, Sony really reinvented some things with that share button. They knew they were ahead of the game. They knew that people were going to want to share their content, and so they did that. Exactly, that share button is top notch, man. And even the Switch, the Switch has one. The Xbox one, you're like double tap the thing and blah blah blah. It's just a mess, terrible. But
yeah, I did like the share button. I will admit, I do like share button.
Oh, of course, man. That share button is awesome. So anyway, it sounds like it's going to be pretty much a beast. It's going to do ray tracing differently than the Xbox Scarlet, though. The load times are going to be non-existent. These dev kits are out now, and there's a huge jump forward with the computing power. The biggest jump ever. I mean, Mooch, what do you think about this? Like, are you more interested in the power, or is it the games that's going to attract you? Like, what do you think is going to be the big deciding factor going forward?
Previous generations, it would have been, power would probably have been right up there. But I got to say, we know, listen, one is going to slightly trump the other. And that's just a matter of fact. The question is that I don't think moving into the next generation, we're going to see one is going to completely dominate. We're not going to have the 1080p and 900p conversation again. I think they'll both be 4K units. The frames will probably be a point of discussion. But I think at the end of the day, it is going to come down to
we'll be watching Digital Foundry is what you're going to be saying.
I don't think Digital Foundry is going to be able to have that huge leap in views like they did at the beginning of this generation.
I agree.
So I agree with you. I think it totally comes down to the software and the games this time. that's really going to make a difference. And I got news for you. You know, Sony's got to be careful. Sony does have to tread lightly here. And you might go, what do you mean? What does that mean? I mean, right now, Ghost of Tsushima is the only one we don't know a release date for.
Yeah.
And if they want to postpone that for a launch date, that's fine. Guys, let's be honest here. You have to, like I say, come with the same energy, right? Yeah. So the same energy would be the game looks amazing. However, it's an unknown IP.
That's true.
Brand new IP, which makes it very smart to launch it and have a cross-gen game.
Well, you're kind of walking on eggshells there, Crap, because I know where you're coming from, but there's the other side of the coin on this. Because yes, it's exciting. You go home, you pop the game, and you go, wow, what am I getting into? At the same time, sometimes you want to go home and you want to pop. Like, you remember, if you guys can bring it back to your youth, remember when you went and got a Sega product or a Nintendo product, you were bringing home a Sonic or a Mario.
Yeah.
Right? And you were like, I can't wait to play the new Mario.
Okay.
So I think
that's true.
Okay, here's the thing, Mooch. So you have Ghost of Tsushima, you got Project Awakening. We know that those are coming up.
Right.
But here's the thing, right? That game or those games that are going to come with launch or potentially come with launch that people recognize and that they've loved previously could be the replacement for the Uncharted from when they killed that series. Obviously, it's time to, after this Last of Us, it's time to launch something else, whatever that replacement was that they were wrapping up. And you also have Gran Turismo 7 that's coming out too. With the launch title, and that's one of their flagship games.
Yeah, there was even rumors of a PlayStation Battle Royale game, a sequel. That there's heavy rumors to that. And I know people might go, "Oh, well, listen, I think it's smart to release with a good variety of games when you launch a console for something for everybody."
Right.
I know Microsoft's launching a Halo because they have nothing. Like, what else would they launch with?
I do think at the end of the day, though, I think Halo launching is a big positive.
It is, but you know what? When Microsoft is like, we don't even give a crap if you buy the console to begin with, it all of a sudden takes that away.
Automatically, and that's just puns intended. You're automatically gonna crap on anything.
We just made a great point that it's a positive. But
no, it is a positive. We just may see Halo Infinite on PS5.
That's a good point.
I might say that soon.
Hey, everybody should get back in here, hit the like button, give it up for Sully. He'd get us back and restart it in a proper amount of time. Listen, I think Halo, it depends, but Halo isn't the seller that it used to be anymore, Xbox. So we'll have to see how that goes.
If it blows us away, it could though.
It could be, but listen, why? You could play it on PC. You could play it on a phone probably or a
whatever.
Because if you're a console gamer, then you're a.
Couldn't I just boot up? Couldn't somebody just pick up? Couldn't somebody pick up one of those hundreds and dozens of those launch Xbox Ones and just play it on there?
I don't know, Crap. You're out of line tonight. I don't know what's wrong with you.
listen, you've got to be able to play it. They're gonna have it playable in that base Xbox One. People, the S has got to be able to play it. The SAT edition has got to be able to play it. The X has got to be able to play it. That's not a reason for me to upgrade. But if Sony's like, hey, Horizon Zero Dawn 2 or Spider-Man 2 or God of War 2 was only playable on the PS5, that's very much an appealing reason to buy a PlayStation 5, folks. I mean, exclusive games are what sell people.
Hey,
go ahead.
Crap. This specific podcast could be a podcast that make you look great. Like, man, Crap know this industry, or it could be a podcast that say Crap don't know shit.
Yeah.
Just be prepared. If you're right, you're right. If you're wrong,
I'm just saying. Listen. It makes sense to me. And if I'm wrong, I have no problem admitting that I'm wrong. I say that all the time, man. I'm wrong. Listen, Mooch, we've been wrong a lot, right?
He's got to believe he's wrong first.
Listen. Listen, Mooch, I get crap all the time for being wrong. Like, people make fun of me like, oh, Crap likes PlayStation now. That's why this is happening. Like, people actually believe that? Like, I get blamed for this? Like, how the hell is that my problem? You know what I mean? Like, look, Xbox didn't get better. They're talking about their big thing that Greenberg and these guys are talking about is this flight simulator.
You hate to see it, Crap, right?
You do. You hate to see it, So, again, like, Days Gone was a good game. People want to look at the Metacritic score, but again, that's on Sony for. It is. It's a good game.
Our buddy Jay over here, he's all about Metacritic.
Listen, Metacritic.
He definitely didn't enjoy games like Knack and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
I did. I love what I love more than that. I love getting sequels.
Knack 2 scored better than State of Decay 2, Crackdown 3.
Your trifecta of games that you just constantly
Recore.
Sony's worst games are better than most.
Hold on, what was
best
hold on.
games? And so that's part
Is
of
that
the
a fat
problem.
crap?
What's that?
What was Knack to Meta?
69.
Yeah.
That wasn't better than
Crackdown got a 59.
What's that?
Crackdown.
Crackdown should have got a 49.
What did
And
Godzilla
that was
do?
with cloud power.
Oh,
Well,
we can't bring up Godzilla. That's not for that's third
Hey, we
party.
can. It's a
come
game.
on. He's
Came
reaching.
out on the
That-
platform.
And
that's a
sad.
reach,
That's sad. You have
Nick.
to reach to find
on,
a
man.
bad
That's
Sony game.
no, it's a
And
game.
we can
Not on
spend
a
hours
platform.
talking about
How
that.
come- And you know what's
first-party
funny? You do not hear people who prefer to play on the Xbox platform constantly talk about games like Godzilla at all.
Well,
And
listen,
anything like
I
that.
see it all the
You don't
time.
hear
Like,
that, but
hey,
you
listen,
do
this game
hear it
trailer
the other
dude
way
who
around.
owes me Death Stranding, he better be sending me my code soon. This guy is always bringing up the Order 1886,
I like that game
Knack,
too, by the way.
Drive
Yeah.
Club, right? He's always bringing these games up, and it's like, dude, go past those games a little bit further, and you'll just see that Sony's games have really, really shined.
Yeah.
Completely outshined a lot of stuff what Microsoft is doing.
What did they say? Crap. They said the analyst Ben Sell said that Microsoft hasn't been nominated for a game of the year since 2014.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I mean
That means not
yeah,
one single
yeah.
game was nominated for game of the year.
do you think?
since
Hey,
2014.
honestly, do you guys think Gears got his chance to be nominated? I don't think it's going to win, but you got.
I don't see it being nominated, but it does seem like
Oh,
I see it. I don't even think it's going to win multiplayer game of the year. I think Call of Duty will probably win that.
It didn't really win a lot of
he got
awards.
his chance to get nominated though.
It could, if there was an award for woke game, I
Yeah.
think it could probably win that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just,
my goodness.
have Billie Eilish go live and all the female representatives, all the
Yeah.
female representatives in the gaming industry go up on stage and sing.
No, I will tell you,
great
he
games
is
this year.
one of the strongest characters in the entire Gears
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, when I see that commercial on Hulu at 3:00 in the morning, everybody, it's Kate Diaz with Billie Eilish in the background. No other Gears characters that we've known to come and love. Just Kate Diaz with her Lancer fighting people, right? With some kind of rocker song in the background.
You know,
like,
you know what's crazy?
You hate to see it.
To make a
Perhaps
counter,
like his girlfriend broke up with
kind of
him.
make
You
a
hate
counter
to see
thing.
it.
As low as 71 is what Days Gone got for Metacritic, but as low as that is, that game was number 6 on the list of best-selling IPs for PlayStation this generation. Number 6.
First party.
That's right under Uncharted 4. That's crazy. That means there's a lot of people that bought that game, supported that game, and will get a sequel. And while we would love to get a sequel to Rise, Son of Rome, Sunset Overdrive, and all that stuff,
I could do without a ride.
Second party deal, man.
What's that?
Yeah, I'm just saying, but
second party
up to a
deals.
certain point, those are
But Jay, you're saying something that I have said when games like Sunset Overdrive came out, when Quantum Break came out. I was like, I pointed back at the community and like, these are quality games, man. You guys are sitting over here counting pixels to see if the game is good or not. I'm like, why did you feed into that?
Xbox, why do you think the Xbox community did not go and support their games this year?
Dude, they drank the Kool-Aid at that point in time, brother.
Dude,
They really
Xbox
did.
fan, like, how about, like, here's the thing, right? I just, maybe some people just didn't think those games were good. I'm not sure. But listen, there was Kool-Aid against Halo 5. There was Kool-Aid against, some of these other games, and they still ended up like when you look.
You know what's funny about Halo 5 is everybody always brings up the low point in that with the story being mediocre. But you don't hear people talk about the high point. That is, Halo 5 is quite possibly the best multiplayer experience.
Eventually,
you don't get credit for half a game, Xbox. Unfortunately, right?
Eventually, it became a great multiplayer game.
Pass for cutting half a game. For
Hold on, they didn't cut it, but we can go into this. So anyway,
no, they're gonna do you're gonna buy the multiplayer.
Well, they didn't say you have to buy it. Like people, hey, you can't fearmonger. You can't fearmonger.
It's probably going to be rated higher than most Xbox games.
I'm predicting.
Hey, listen. You can't.
There you go with the rating, but yet you enjoy.
It's going to sell more. How about sales?
You can't fearmonger though.
Hey man,
Hey, you can't fear monger.
Man, chill out on my boy Xbox, man.
Listen,
he enjoyed Dak in those other games and
look,
stuff like that. But
all this PlayStation news.
Can I talk about sales or Metacritic?
Hey, people. Hey, you guys complain that Sony doesn't do multiplayer games. They're doing a standalone spin-off of Factions, which was very popular, and Mooch will tell you.
They took something that was in the original package that you got for $60. They took it away from the sequel. They're going to have you charge. They're going to charge you $30 to buy into it again.
Listen, they could make it
you mad, but
hey, they could make it free to play.
Man,
defend over for Yoshi.
Hey, could they not make it free to play Xbox? If you own the game, could they not give it to you for free as well?
Well, I mean that.
Just imagine if Gears multiplayer would have came later. What would be going on right now?
Well, Gears has been known.
Gears is known for
but have you ever but Dirt, when you asked that question, I think we were talking about this maybe over Twitter. You know when someone says this is someone's yin to their yang, okay? When it comes down to Gears 5 or Gears in general, Gears is over the years gone from just being the single player campaign to becoming so much more with their multiplayer, right? It's the yin to the yang. What I find funny, okay, and I understand that now you see a different take, but like everyone says, bring that energy. Okay, you can ask
that
Crap,
same energy,
right?
Mooch.
Ask Crap when we first started hanging out. He goes, "Well, what multiplayer do you play?" I said, "Actually, I played a lot of The Last of Us on PS3 multiplayer." And he's like, "What? Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Now everyone's, "Oh, I love it." But like, I was playing that with people. Oh, it's great. Right? But my point being is like that game is 110% single player. The multiplayer really is, I wouldn't say it's a side thing, you know? It's not the yin to the yang at all. Like The Last of Us is not at all using the multiplayer as a crutch. It's not apples for apples. Everyone likes to make these new discussions, but you have to, like you guys say, bring the same energy. You also have to bring the same reasoning. You know, and that's the thing I don't understand. It's like, yes, if Gears launched without the multiplayer, absolutely, it would be a huge catastrophe.
What if Gears launched without the campaign then?
Thank you. Now we're talking, you know, that's still, I mean, to be honest, but see, again, Gears, I just said, that's the yin to the yang. They've done a really great job. You got to credit the Coalition and before Epic in saying that they've been able to do a 50-50 of single player to multiplayer. Like, shout out to Crispy Bomb, who's in the chat right now. He's all about the multiplayer. I mean, if you really said to him, I'm going to give you one option, single player or multiplayer, he's going multiplayer. Now, you ask me, it's single player. But if you ask 10 out of 10 people with The Last of Us, it's single player.
Yeah, it's single player for The Last of
Us. Right? So my point being is it's not the same. It's not just the same energy. It's not the same reasoning. So that's the thing where I'm a huge fan of.
We've seen this before though, right? Didn't Call of Duty just do this last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, Call of Duty
it sold fairly well, right? Even though
it sold more than the one with the story.
But see, there you go. But Xbox, great example. I told everybody, and I say it now. I gave crap shit last week. I said I don't give a shit if Captain Stu Nuts is coming back this year.
But that's man. The outcry from the community has been huge. They're bringing campaign back.
Thank you. I call Xbox to the stand. You proved my case. Hey. That's my point. My point is that people wanted the single player. They were crying for it, it'll sell better.
Is known for the multiplayer now. Yeah. Mooch, what I'm saying is throughout
but it sold well.
But Mooch, on social media and stuff like that, PlayStation gamers have touted and put on such a high pedestal The Last of Us multiplayer that you would think that, you know, the developers and the Sony company itself, you know, heard all that.
They did.
Like that. And they weren't going to cut it off and then have you.
Why do you think they listened to their fans? Why do you think they actually came out and said, "Hey, we're working on something for it"? Right? Like they could have just did what Microsoft.
Well, if they're going to charge an extra $30
and have their high, like you can just picture like Phil Spencer having his high tea. Oh, would you look at that? Maximilian Dude wants a Killer Instinct sequel.
You know what's going to happen, right? Hold on, you guys know what's going to happen, right?
What?
Like, all the trash that all these Sony guys have talked about, like with even like this the loot grab and everything like that. That's exactly what it's going to be.
This is the thing. I would not doubt that it's going to be I wouldn't doubt
until then, right? this game is already breaking records.
Breaking records.
People are gonna. It's gonna be the most
score.
highest. It's gonna be the most highest rated game probably in history. Guys are gonna, whine and cry because they can't play it.
You would never hear me say anything bad about The Last of Us, bro.
And, it's gonna go to win game of the year, and then eventually the multiplaer
come out later.
They're doing.
Hey, we're counting on Kojima, man. He could get that Sony triple. That Sony triple, man. We had God of War game of the year last year. If Death Stranding can win it this year, Last of Us 2 is going to lock it up next year. That would be 3 in a row.
Man, but next year is a lot of competition. I mean, Last of Us is great, but it got Cyberpunk.
Hey, that Cyberpunk ain't going to be no match.
Yeah,
hey, I know this might not be the best person to really say it, but listen, Greg Miller, he was like, I pity any game going. He got to play the game for 3 hours. He says, I pity any game going up against The Last of Us 2. Like, that's how he tends to think the way
it's going to be a great game.
Exactly. He tends to think the way that. Oh, hold on. Let me see that real quick. I don't see it. Hold on. What?
Oh man,
Carlos Torres.
What's it say? Because I don't see it. Right, there it is. Oh, hold on. There it is. How come you're seeing it before me?
That's weird. My internet connection, man. You got that.
Yeah, I guess, man. Mine's not doing great. He said. Carlos Torres, he says, what the hell happened to us gamers? We used to get everything and now we're okay with half games. If multiplayer is on the last game and don't care how big the game is, I am tired of this crap and we are letting it. I think he's saying that, the last one had multiplayer.
Yeah. So they should have multiplayer in this one.
That's a fair argument, but listen, Tomb Raider, right? The reboot had multiplayer and then they took it out.
That's true.
Because it was so bad.
I was just gonna say, crap.
Nobody cared.
Nobody cared because it was so bad.
You've got a ton of games where they released his own thing there. You got a ton of games where they released the multiplayer when they weren't ready, and then you get the same situation where you get like the Crackdown 3 multiplayer. You have two guys coming on telling us why they're sorry and how they're fixing it. Right. Here's my thing. I'd rather take your time. They promised it was coming. We're gonna get the multiplayer. It's not that big of a deal. And I'll be honest with you, let's just say, for example, I'm not saying that the fire wouldn't be out there, but if there was a multiplayer, see, again, Gears is a bad example because Gears and Halo really are dependent on their multiplayer. Absolutely. So,
I'm in the minority when I love the campaign in Halo.
Right? But The Last of Us is not dependent on the multiplayer. But you understand, you're actually talking to somebody right now that is near and dear to the multiplayer. I feel it needs to be there, but I'm in the minority. Yeah. So I'm willing. The thing I told Crap, and you can ask him. I said, if I find out that this is not coming at all, I'm pissed. If it's coming along the way, that's fine. At least I'm getting the multiplayer that I want.
Can I just say something real quick to the chat? Just real quick to the chat. Yo, GTA 5, he said how it launched without multiplayer. But here's the thing. If you remember what they said about GTA Online, they are treating it like a completely separate game. And guess what? They're not charging you for it afterwards.
No, because it's riddled with microtransactions. Come on, that's how they're paying for it.
So that would stop a publisher from putting a price tag on it.
Red Dead 2, Red Dead 2, same thing. It did not come with multiplayer. It came later, and it's riddled with. So I mean, what's the difference? Who cares? At the end of the day, right? The Last of Us 2 will be game of the year. It will sell droves. Everyone will be happy. The multiplayer, whenever it's ready, it'll come out. It'll sell like hotcakes. It'll be good. It'll be great because they have a track record for putting out bangers and quality. And so, doesn't matter. That doesn't fade. I don't think there's any The Last of Us players out there that's saying, "Look, I'm canceling my pre-order because this is not going to come day in day out."
Nobody was upset about it. Which I mean,
actual PlayStation gamers is going to be amazing, brother.
You canceled your pre-order.
Nobody.
Because someone else can play the game? No, I don't know. Hey, everybody hit the like button. Maybe we can get up to 170 likes. I would appreciate that. You guys are awesome. So, yeah, The Last of Us 2 is breaking a lot of records, and it looks like it's going to be a really...
When will Microsoft, right, which I want, every gamer should want Microsoft to have their version.
Of course we want that,
quality game. Quality. I'm not saying copying the game, but quality. It's a big difference.
Of course, we want a quality game like that, bro. Why nobody has? I mean, only blind Xbox fans is saying they don't. Okay, so stop addressing the blind Xbox fans.
You're saying
wait another 7 years?
You want quality? Hey, Wilson. Wilson, I don't know what the last name is, but he says Assassin's Creed had multiplayer, but now it's gone.
Oh, dude, I pitched a bitch about that too, man.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Bitch, it was a really unique multiplayer that should have grown and
But
evolved.
that's the point, Xbox. Thank you for, and I mean, you know what? I don't blame you, and that's the same thing I said to Crap. I would have absolutely pitched a fit as well. But if Naughty Dog is coming out and saying they're going to give you that,
Assassin's Creeds have I bought since then? 0. Thank you.
Right, because it left a bad taste in your mouth. My point being with this is that Naughty Dog's not going to do that. They're giving you a 2 physical disc single player, like where people are saying they're actually changing the game in a role-playing, like horror survival type of game, and then we're going to get the multiplayer. I'm okay with that. Not to mention, we just said we've got bangers like Cyberpunk and all these other games coming out, right?
Yeah.
Avengers, you got other games that are coming out.
Hey, next year is going to be
This will be fun.
It is going to be actually next year looks like a much better year than this year in terms
the
of
last year of a console gen should always be
Bleeding Edge,
fireworks.
Yeah, well, what did you say? Bleeding Edge?
Come on, man! Don't get him started.
Hey, man, Bleeding Edge. Come on, man. Listen, I had a free alpha code for that, and I gave it away. I was like, I don't even want to try this game. You know what I mean? Like, come on, like that game. Listen,
give me the alpha code, man.
No, like nobody wanted it, and I didn't know anybody wanted it. Somebody was like,
damn it, yo.
Yeah, you didn't want to offend anybody, huh?
It's true. I was like, hey, if I go to this and I'm like, hey Mooch, you want this alpha code? You know what Mooch is gonna do? He's gonna laugh at his ass off at me. Like
Which
he's
game,
want a Bleeding Edge alpha code. You don't want no exactly. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants. Like I'll probably get slapped in the face. You want this slap? You know what I mean? Nobody wants to play that crap. That game's gonna be straight trash, and everybody knows it, and it's fine. You know what I'm saying? But I just wish that like Ninja Theory's first game for Xbox would have been like a true banger.
I'm not judging Ninja Theory on this. I think this is something that they had shelved.
They wanted to put this out.
So I think it's something that they had shelved that was ready to go. Microsoft knows they're in that 15-month drought. They want to have something. I don't really blame Microsoft for taking it off the shelf. They own it. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I get it. Like I said, I mentioned this as a joke. Phil was probably like, hey, you know, what do you got in the dumpster? You know what I'm saying? Like, and they're like, hey, we got this project. Here's the thing that people don't understand when it comes to like independent developers. They have ideas that they pitch to big publishers. And it seemed like they had this idea and probably pitched it to a lot of publishers and nobody wanted to touch it.
Wanted it.
Yeah. So Microsoft in desperate need, by the way, in desperate need was like, hey, we'll take it or whatever.
Or as a welcoming to their first parties, like, you know what? You want to release that game? You feel passionate about that game? You're going to get to release that game. Just remember, you're working on Project B over here as well.
I don't know, but again,
could be a scenario as well, man.
It could be, but listen, they're a 75-person team and 30 people
and they are working on more than one project.
They are 30 people. Well, no, according to Matt Booty, who in that Game Informer interview about a month ago, he said they got 75 people working there and 30 people are working on Bleeding Edge. And the rest are working on something, quote unquote, more like what Ninja Theory usually does. So probably a double. Yeah. And he also in that same interview mentioned they want Ninja Theory to make AA games for them that go on Game Pass that are like Hellblade, that type of quality.
A few months ago, but they haven't been hiring though, right? I know it's Wikipedia.
I mean, they could be, yeah. But listen, I thought the same thing. Listen, I thought the same thing about Playground Games, right? Because they have a second studio, they just built it. They're working on Fable, and then you find out they just moved into the second studio this past April, and they only had 60 people working there, and they're trying to staff up to 200. Like that kind of killed. Yeah,
10 people started on a
AA game.
Like, did you know that the original Last of Us? 10 people started working on that one.
And then you transition. Oh, I get it, but that game took a long time to develop, and they had 2 teams at the time too, so it wasn't like 10.
Of Uncharted 3, 10 people went to do The Last of Us. So I don't know, crap.
I think that's, but again, Naughty Dog's the top developer in the world.
Yes, they are.
And, you know what I mean? So
Microsoft just doesn't have the track record for us to feel comfortable.
They don't
will be able
to feel comfortable.
We waited 6 years, man, for Crackdown.
You ain't waiting.
It's the track record.
But
6 years. Hold on. Hey, Nine Lives says, chill, you haven't played Bleeding Edge yet. Listen, it's not my type of game. Trust me, when I say it's not my type of game, it's not something that I'm going to come around to. People go, well, crap, why don't you like the Souls games? Play it. Yeah, no, you know what I mean. I put my 15-minute. That's definitely not my type of game.
I'm not a fan of those games.
Exactly, right? Like there's just certain games that people know they're not a fan of. Like I don't like Overwatch. Okay. Yeah. I've played Overwatch. I have no interest in playing Bleeding Edge. It could be a fine game. I think it's going to be a fine 67 rated game.
I loved Overwatch, man.
So you know what I mean? But I think doing a clone to games that are successful or following trends is not a good thing. You know, that's why Cliffy B ended up where Cliffy B is. So this just kind of came out on WCCF Tech that kind of talks a little bit more about the Shawn Layden thing about it, and it's titled this: Sony power struggle may have forced Layden out. PS5 plans reportedly mired in confusion. Usually those are Xbox headlines, guys. So it says yesterday they reported the surprising news that Sony Interactive Entertainment chairman Shawn Layden is leaving the company after 30 years. The same day it was reported that Sony Japan president Mr. Moriata was also taking his leave. The announcement of Layden's departure pretty much came out of left field with little fanfare, just a single tweet. It seems there may be more to that, as Games Daily Biz reports the PlayStation team is beset by power struggles and internal upheaval as we head into the next generation. Long story short, it seems Layden may have been pushed out by current Sony Interactive Worldwide CEO and President Jim Ryan, who's been rapidly climbing the ranks. Rising from Sega or from Sony Interactive Entertainment, deputy president to big boss in less than a year. Meanwhile, Layden had seemingly been permanently earmarked as leader of Worldwide Studios. Of course, overseeing first-party software production is important, but Layden was definitely subservient to Jim Ryan as overall PlayStation boss. Despite Layden arguably having a more impressive track record of success with the company, but you got to take it all with a grain of salt as well. This is according to a source, an anonymous source, with a third-party anonymous source. He says, this is the least amount of clarity we've ever had on a new console this close to transition. I believe that the global restructuring of Sony is exacerbating the already difficult process of transitioning to a new generation, and we're getting nervous, very nervous. Yeah, so that's very interesting to sort of read that about. Mooch, what do you think? Because
the thing I think that's the most alarming that I've been reading, that, and it was only the last sentence or two out of what you read. It's not so much. Jim Ryan's been in a position of power with Sony for quite some time, so I'm not really worried about Jim stuff. Whether you like Jim or not, he's been running a large portion of Sony, PlayStation especially, for a very long time. So that's fine. The part that I think is alarming, and I think Xbot will get a chance to talk more about it, and he's supposed to be coming on in the next few weeks on Crossfire when Don comes on, is I think developers are starting to get a little weary, because if they don't get their hands on more of the dev kits and get used to how to program and how to get things up and running, what you may find, especially out the gate, is you may find that the Xbox Scarlet ends up being the one that they use as their primary platform. Because they're unfamiliar with the hardware and what Sony's providing, because they're not going to give it to them until much later. That will all play catch up. It won't take them long. It'll take them probably 3-4 months. But if you're talking about games that are coming out that first 12 to 18 months that are multi-plat, you may find that Xbox has the leg up. Now, again, you could see that doesn't really concern Sony, because right now the X is much more powerful than the Pro. They've got their leg up there, and you can see that that's not hurting Sony sales at all.
Yeah, this but they had a direction this generation, and from what Crap is saying, if all that stuff is true, first off, you got to give a shout out to people who are working at the PlayStation division, because if there is stuff going on like that over there, it's not an easy time to be working over there. So, shout out to everybody who if this is all going on,
working over where?
They're at PlayStation.
I'm pretty sure they're fine.
A lot of crap. They're dealing with a lot of shit right now.
Did you see the picture of Yoshida? Shuhei Yoshida posting a picture with a bottle of Moet, like they're having.
They're fine.
Yeah.
They're fine. I'd save your prayers for other people that need it. I think they're doing fine.
I saw somebody tweet out today that they saw Rare posting another barbecue video. Like Rare is permanently doing barbecue. I would love to work for Rare.
Brother, it's called social media.
YOLO.
Well, you know what? Just a tip though. Xbot's not wrong, but Xbot, you know what I would say to them if I was in charge? Guys, less barbecue. Go do the barbecue, but take a picture of you guys actually working. Like do a Costanza where it looks like you're aggravated at work.
It shows that there's possibly 2 or more camps within PlayStation that want to go different directions.
Well, listen, like that's not.
That's what that's
not real. I mean, listen, Layden
really
out.
what we said,
Hey, this could be. Some people have pointed out that Layden wanted his games on PC, and maybe Jim Ryan doesn't.
Yeah.
Right.
Or maybe it's the other way around.
Well, no, Jim Ryan is more.
Listen,
Jim Ryan. Just read his profile. Jim Ryan is one of the more like old school guys. He was one of the ones that wasn't real happy with that right of whatever it was when Microsoft signed with Azure or Sony signed with Azure. He wasn't a big fan of that. He's not a fan of crossplay. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
here's another approach too.
The other thing, and me and Dirt
he's also not a fan of backwards compatibility either. So
backwards compatibility is kind of lame. I mean, let's be honest. Nobody uses who uses it.
Yeah, nobody wants to play their PS.
That's all PS now has, crap.
Hey, man, nobody wants. No, it's got a bunch of PS4 games, man. It's got Grand Theft Auto 5 on there.
Well, you guys are so focused on Shawn Layden, but keep in mind, like people have been leaving Sony in droves in the last year. Like, think about it. Like all the people that Microsoft picked up for the
those developers that are on contract work. A lot of those guys are on contract work after
those janitors.
Initiative
Yeah.
You know that for a fact that they were all contract work. That's why they left.
That's what developers do, right?
Usually, people are on contract work. You know, the big gaming media does realize that those are contracted developers that are gonna leave. And they don't really make a big deal about it. But when those people did leave, when those developers,
the only people that made a big deal about it was you guys.
They wrote articles about them.
Hey, did you hear, Mike?
I am skeptical that you know that they're contracted.
Hey, Mike Roch went from Naughty Dog janitor to being the head of the Initiative's new project, right?
Shout out to Mr. Roch.
Yeah, Mr. Roch, good job. Hey, speaking
something like that.
Hey, speaking of like barbecues at Rare. I'm thinking that's what happened with that Kraken, bro. That's why it's lacking, right? Like they're like, hey man, we gotta finish the Kraken. Yeah, we gotta finish that. Hey, we gotta finish the Kraken. No, man, we can't finish the Kraken. We've got to work. We got to go and do a barbecue, selfie time, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I felt that was kind of interesting. Also, what I like about Sony's doing is there was a few little key points this generation where people go, Sony doesn't even do this. They don't even allow this. They don't even allow crossplay. Well, now crossplay fully supported is no longer in beta. All games are now free to add it. So this is really cool as well. What we see here is that Sony is like, hey, we're going to allow this to happen. Like, Mooch, what is your thoughts on this as well? Because I feel like it's just one of those things you check the box so that Microsoft doesn't have any talking points over you next generation, right?
Yeah,
I actually feel that the PS5 is going to be more powerful and they're going to have much more varied launch lineup of exclusive games.
I think they'll probably end up with more software out the gate. I don't know about the Power Crown yet. I do still think that Xbox is going to hold that because listen, let's be honest. They're doing the whole Xbox is PC, PC is Xbox. They want to have the most powerful console. I think they want to hold that. The problem is now, like I
wanting
said,
it and doing it are two different things.
But it doesn't matter. They're both going to do 4K 60. So the only thing is going to be like the buzzword that people are going to start saying, and believe me, Digital Foundry has already got 85 scripts already written about ray tracing. So don't worry, that's coming out.
You got to check out ray tracing exactly what it is, brother.
Ray tracing.
It is something.
Predator, I'll tell you, I agree with you, Xbox, but I'm telling you right now, I got a 2080 Ti, and even that's having a hard time handling it. So there's no way next generation consoles are going to be doing it to that magnitude. And Predator will even tell you if they do, be prepared to go from 4K 60 to 4K ray tracing 30.
So it's or 1440 30 or something like that.
Or stuttering. So
yeah,
I think it's going to be a problem there. But that's neither here nor there. That's a discussion for the future. I think getting back to the original question, not just the crossplay. I think that the one thing now that Sony did the crossplay thing is now they have that. They have the true leg up again. Because what happens immediately? Jay's been saying it all day on Twitter. He's is that you don't have all these games that are free to play. And all these other things, they're all free on PlayStation. Xbox still makes you buy the games, the Xbox Live. And I don't have a problem with. You can clearly see I don't have a problem with it. I've been a customer for a very long time. I don't mind. But it is something to be said when the competitor, which is a much smaller company in magnitude, when Sony versus Microsoft, and they're going to go ahead and give you that for nothing. Microsoft really does have to drop that wall of pay for free-to-play games. That's kind of it doesn't look good right now. There's just it's a stink that's on Microsoft. They got to get rid of that, I think.
But Mooch, I don't see this. There was never this big, huge outcry over that. But there was more outcry over Sony not allowing crossplay than it was for some parent that go and buy their kid an Xbox to play Fortnite, and they have to shell out $60 a year for Xbox Live.
What would happen if next generation, next generation Sony put a paywall behind that? What would you say?
Why would they?
PS3
Sony doesn't have its first party games are not behind a paywall, right? Now they could do that, right? They could turn around and renege everything and do that, but that would be wrong. That would be wrong.
Yeah. If you look at what they're doing, the few points that people had, they don't allow EA access, boom, they're allowing it. Oh, they don't allow crossplay, boom, they're allowing it. Like all the things, I think the next PlayStation is going to have backward compatibility, like they're allowing it. So like all the little things that's what you talk about.
I think Microsoft is sooner to drop it crap than Sony to acquire it.
Hey, if Microsoft dropped it, they would lose so much money.
Yeah, they ain't gonna drop that shit.
No. Allow free to play games without Xbox Live Gold.
That's what I'm saying. But why? They can't. They can't afford to do that.
Sure, they.
No, their biggest.
We just spent the first hour of the show saying they're $1 trillion company.
Yeah, they are. Listen, they could technically afford that as a company, but how would you tell that to your investors, because they're tracking?
We still need Xbox Live Gold. I'm only talking about for like Fortnite.
Dude, Fortnite's the #1 game on Fortnite and Apex Legends.
#1 game on everything.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but you don't have to pay to do that on Sony's platform.
That's what I'm saying. If Sony can absorb that hit, so can Microsoft.
Hey, Sony's got 100 million consoles out there. Microsoft's got -3.
-3.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
negative? Really?
Negative. Yeah, -3.
Every time an Xbox One is bought, an angel loses its wings.
Hey, man, I can't help it, man. Look, we don't know. If they don't announce the numbers, aren't we free to just kind of guess whatever they are? I mean, that's sort of how I work.
Nice
to
have
at
an
it anyway.
educated guess, though. Crap. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I hear you. You know what? I want to talk about something that I know Mooch wants to talk about, and probably Xbot. Destiny 2. Mooch, what is this Destiny 2 stuff that's going?
Here we go.
What is this Destiny? What's this Destiny 2 stuff that's going on, and why should I care? I know that like the servers are crashed, and like, is this really? Do you think Activision's kicking themselves?
Listen, crap. When it comes down to it, and Xbox will get a little bit more into, because I'm actually, shout out to the Ash and Luca. Me and Luca are playing tonight. And I gotta be honest with you, the thing about it, crap, is the same reason that I love The Walking Dead. It's the same reason that we all tune in for the 6th season of fill in the blank favorite show you have. This is something where enough time goes by, and you have someone like Xbot448 who never stopped, right? He's the veteran. He's there. He's got multiple hours, and he has so many hours, it's ridiculous, right? That's great. You need to have those veterans there. Then you have me, right, that comes in there, and I play for a couple of months, then I take 3-4 months off, then I play a couple of months. I know when I go back, it's like a club that you always belong to, And you guys that are listening that aren't into it are like, oh, the hell with that. Who needs a club? My point being is that like it is such a warm, welcoming feeling to get back together with people after 2-3 months and enjoy a new series of quests, gear, loot. Check out what I got. You need to do this. People really helping each other, getting through. These are things that you want to have. When everybody uses air quotes, I love the community. Okay? That's a community. Like, I literally put a word out today, and I said, I need some help. I want to get back into this. So now that we're all level 750, can we do this? Everyone's like, Mooch, let's go. Somebody get Mooch. Get in the car. Let's get out of here. You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of stuff you want. You don't find that. Even though I love Borderlands, no one's taking me along for the ride. You know what I mean? No, I mean, my point being is it's such an amazing community out there. I recommend everybody try it. The game's actually, the base game's free, and the standard edition is $34. to jump in. And now Bungie's been so consumer friendly with the stuff that they're doing with cross saves. You can play with your friends on PlayStation now or on PC, and Stadia's coming, baby. And you can take it on the road with you and do what you want to do. It's great. I really recommend it. Now, Xbot will get a little bit more into, he's probably played a lot more of the missions. I only played 1 or 2 in Shadowkeep, but the game is just such an amazing community. I really recommend it. And let's talk about this real quick, Crap. Probably the best mechanics this generation in any first-person shooter.
Hey, Bungie
period.
are the kings, man.
They
Bungie
are the kings.
They
and
are.
Wow, the art and detail in this game is it's just. And I played it on PC. I bought it on PC. I got it on Xbox. And I'll tell you right now, it's a sight for the eyes. It's absolutely stunning.
Dude.
So tell me about it, Xbox. What are you liking about it?
Well, basically everything you like, everything that you can customize your character and how you play, they have just pushed it to, they cranked it to 11, man, in terms of putting mods into your armor that cater to how you play and stuff like that. But what I like the most about this is ever since Bungie broke away from Activision, they made all year one, which is the original Destiny 2 game, Curse of Osiris DLC, Warmind DLC, all of that is all free to play. So I have people on my Twitter live feed that are going in and they're playing the free to play, and they're like, yo, I'm digging this. Like I think I'm gonna pick up the DLC, which when you put down the $30 for the DLC, you automatically get the first season with that. And all the gear that you can get from the first season. It's good to see everybody back. So many people got back into play this game that there was the servers were queuing up like a wait time. I know my son at one point in time, he was number 322,000 in queue waiting to play this game, to the point where they actually had to cut the servers.
That's old Crap. That's old Call of Duty numbers.
Yeah, those are pretty impressive numbers, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
They had to shut the game down and go in and do maintenance on the servers to make sure that they had enough for everybody to get in and play. Not only that, I am proud to say that Oh Snaps has been playing Destiny 2 for the past 2 days.
That's what I'm talking about.
And she is getting into the game as well.
It's a lot of fun. And that's why I said the Crap, I said, listen, even if you're on the fence right now, right, Xbot, and help me out with this. Even if you're on the fence right now, everybody gets to start at ground zero right now. Everybody starts at the same light level. It's not like, oh, you guys have been doing it. Like, Xbot's got like 8,000 hours, right? Compared to what?
I'm trying to check my hours. Hold on.
Right? He's probably got like 11,000 hours. I've got like 350 or 250. Like, I can't even hold a candle to him. My point being is, though, today we start over. And it's like, it's fun to get back in there and experience it. And you're not going to be bored. It's yucking it up with friends. It's going out and doing missions, and it's great.
Mooch, I have 1,883 hours in Destiny 2.
That's insane amount of time. Insane. Like,
that's crazy.
But the good thing is, dude, I have 72.
How are you gonna find time to play Battletoads, bro?
I can play it all, man.
Right. How you gonna play Bleeding Edge, man?
Yeah, what about Bleeding Edge? Right there. I'm with you.
I'm gonna play that too, brother.
How?
Huh? I got ways, man. I got ways. I know
ways.
I am a gamer, all right? But when it comes down to it, I think one of the best things is whether you're playing the free to play or whether you bought the DLC, every single piece of armor, because they're starting everybody at the same level, and they added the mods to the armor. Every single piece of armor, whether you're playing the original story, whether you're getting into the first raid, all of it means something. You're not just going in and grabbing old gear, because they have that gear 2.0. So I'm actually excited to go back and do the original Leviathan just to get the new gear, so I can rock that, moving forward, and have that be an armor set that I can actually use.
You do, and it's funny, Crap, because you do have to like what Xbot's saying. If you don't care about loot and grinding, I listen, I got news for you. It's funny, I beat Control recently, and I really enjoyed the experience. It was fantastic. I liked it a lot. I think it's probably my favorite Remedy game. And I'll tell you the truth, when you're done with it, you're done with it. This is a game that's like, it just doesn't end. And listen, you can see by its success right now that Destiny 3 is already going to be a thing. They're talking about it.
Oh
already.
yeah, they
right?
obviously. Listen,
So,
I'm
my
all
point
for
is
Bungie being successful.
right.
I
I know.
Yeah, just for me, I see people getting excited about it, and I'm cool with that. My big problem with Destiny was that like you need to constantly play it to do the strikes and the different things like that, and it's like doing the same thing like the filler stuff. I saw people complaining on Twitter today. It's like, oh, you can go do this, but first you got to go to the moon and do some other bullshit that to kill hours of your day.
Crap.
But look at the other games we love. Like look at GTA that sold 75 billion copies, right?
Yeah.
It's but before you go do this mission, make sure you go get a new jacket and a haircut. What? Oh, all right. I guess I'll go get a jacket and a haircut. And then when you do that, you get two other little miscellaneous things that pop up on your. I mean, listen, every game does it a different way. This game does it more direct. This game is just telling you this is what you need to do. This is the criteria. Like, guys, think about your first days in college or even high school. Okay, you got a syllabus. These are the things you have to do to get this like homework or this assignment accomplished. It is what it is. Like some people dig it, some people don't. I'm not going to sell you on it, but all I'm going to say is if you're slightly intrigued, like Xbox saying, try out the free to play and see if it is for you.
Hey Mooch, check this out. I am pleased to announce that, for the longest time, this entire generation, Halo 5 has been my most played game this entire generation. I have officially gone over Halo 5 with Destiny 2 because
that
Halo
speaks
5,
volumes.
I have 1,745.
Guys, honestly,
hours.
Crap, that does speak volumes because here you have a guy like Xbot who literally loves and his admiration is for Halo. And this is what I said earlier in the show. I really think if you want to look back 20 years from now and somebody like all the Xbox guys from all the generations are sitting around the table and somebody goes, what was our biggest F up? It was letting Bungie go.
Yeah.
Biggest mistake they ever had.
T-Rock 40 says never played Destiny, downloaded the free-to-play game. I mean, you can't go wrong with free stuff. Go ahead and play it and give it a try or whatever. Yeah. One last thing, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. Now they're giving away free 6 months of Spotify Premium.
Brilliant.
I mean, what else can they possibly give away? I'm gonna hold out for the inevitable Nintendo
Wait for
Switch.
a large pizza.
Yeah. I want a Nintendo Switch and a personal phone call from Phil Spencer.
PSN subscription.
Yeah, like he's gonna start get a FaceTime with Phil Spencer, play some Switch games with Phil Spencer, sign up for Game Pass Ultimate today. Like I'm saving up for that. Like Mooch, are you thinking that like I'm thinking they're just trying to get as many people locked in for as long as possible with this drought that's happening? So listen, we did it. We're with them through the long haul in the 2020.
But it's a great deal, man.
But they don't have any big bangers coming out though. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like I don't listen, me.
From subscriptions and they're giving away a music subscription with their
they're trying to draw people. They're trying to draw people in because they know they don't have anything coming on the horizon for a while, and they don't want those numbers to significantly drip. Yeah. So you know what I'm saying? Like that's what they're trying to do. So like technically, me and Mooch are
what they're trying to do.
Well, me and Mooch are signed up with them. I'm like 2022 or something, but I have never even used it. And you know what I'm saying? Like I would have used it for Gears, but I got a review code. So like, you know what I'm saying? Mooch, same thing. So
same thing here.
The next time I plan on using it, I'm not going to buy Halo.
Don't get me wrong. I see Xbot's point. So Xbot, I completely see your point. You're not wrong. Yeah. But realistically speaking, I mean, if you sign up for PS Now right now, you might get a coaster with like Yoshida and Jim Ryan's face on it. That's all you get because they don't need to give anything away because they're selling like crazy. The thing about it is that to do Spotify and then they're gonna do something with Papa John's and it's like eventually you're like, what is it like? They gave it away for $1 and they matched your gold subscription. You could see that, and now they shifted. They don't want to talk about active users. They want to talk about revenue percentages. Everything just keeps changing. You can see that maybe, yes, it's absolutely a great value. We don't have to beat that dead horse anymore. But you can clearly see here by doing these ridiculous deals and keep packaging things with it. I mean, your local area, wherever you have a used car dealership, you ever see them on local TV? They're like, stop on down. We're going to give you guys whatever you want. Push it, pull it, tow it. We're going to give you $2,500. Doesn't matter what it is. Even if it's a steering wheel and just 5 bolts, $2,500 down. It's like, my point being is like when you're throwing Spotify has nothing to do with this service. It's just completely out there. You can see it's literally a lure, which is fine. Everybody has a lost leader in a store, right? So you have the lost leader and you get them in. Once you get them into the store, you hope they buy more than just a lost leader for sale item. So that's the way business goes. I get it. It's not a bad move, but you could see that if it was thriving the way everybody says it was thriving, you wouldn't see these tack on things that are coming with it. They wouldn't need to do that.
Yeah, I understand 100%, and I agree. I want to get everybody out here before 10 o'clock. Hit the like button, share it out. I appreciate it. Sorry about some of the difficulties with the stream and a little bit of a late start, but hey, some Xbox Nation is better than none. It is. It's all my fault, damn it. Mooch, what do you got going on, man?
We got Crossfire, 7 p.m. Eastern time, the Mooch 78. Guys, go over there. Please, guys, hit the subscribe button. Been doing this a long time, enjoying it. And then twitch.tv, the Mooch 78. We start up again tomorrow, and we are going to be streaming like crazy from tomorrow all the way through. I'm excited for next week as well. I think I'm going to be starting The Last of Us Remastered.
I was thinking about going through that again too, because I didn't do the DLC, but I was thinking about doing through the remastered, maybe on a little bit higher difficulty.
Yes, that's exactly the way to go. So I'm going to be doing that as we go through next week. So guys, do check it out. I appreciate it. Great
Absolutely.
Tonight,
Xbot, what do you got going on, dude?
Brother, well, it's good to be back podcasting again. I was sick for quite a few days, and I'm glad I'm feeling better. Awesome show tonight. Of course, this Saturday we will be having next podcast. Everybody put in their gameplay for kind of like the gameplay episode of the
month. Do we got mud trucks?
You're gonna have to tune in and find out. Crap.
Oh man!
Oh, Mooch, you like that, right?
I do. I like that.
Yeah, there you go, man.
In.
But yeah, my channel Xbot448 every Saturday 7 p.m. Join me, Predator, K Mega, Noximus, Crispy Bomb, and we just go in and talk games, man. We have a blast. You guys got to come and watch it, man.
Looking forward to it, man. We also got Predator. What do you got going on, my friend?
Next podcast Saturday, and I have no clue other than me playing Ghost Recon, maybe The Last of Us starting next week, and that's it. Nothing else going on.
Hey, man, you can't knock that. Sounds good as well. Dirt, my friend, you put up the good fight today, man. You put the Dukes up. You took a couple of licks, but overall pretty good, man. What do you got going on?
Well, of course, I have my podcast, Graham Punks, on directly after Bash Xbox Nation, so come check it out.
Here we go.
And just check out my channel. I'm an Xbox content creator, so come and check me out, guys.
Heck yeah, man, absolutely. And J-Dubs credits, what do you got going on, my friend?
Hey, man, you guys can come check me out on YouTube at JW. I'm going to be streaming some Ghost Recon Breakpoint tonight. So.
Oh, Ghost Recon, man! I hear some good things about it. I'm not sure if I'm a Ghost Recon fan, but yeah,
me and a couple of friends been playing it for the last few days, and
Jay, what are you doing, man? The moon is haunted, bro. We need your help on
the so low in Destiny, bro. I know you try to play that.
I'm waiting for my Google Stadia to play Destiny.
Absolutely,
Booch.
Well,
Stadia.
Have one
I'll be there, Jay.
Day one.
Yes, sir. Day one.
I've got a couple of wrestling shows to catch up on later. I will see you guys all later. Have a great night, everyone. Rack them up. Please like, share, subscribe, all that great stuff. Let your friends know. Peace out. Later. We'll catch you next time. Thanks, Sully.
Peace.